9.9. At this time, we have our Midday News, sponsored by Courts St. Vincent Limited.
Good afternoon and welcome to WEFM's Midday News, brought to you with the kind compliments of Courts St. Vincent Limited.
Always wanted a motorcycle, but they've been too expensive. I pass in on my way to work, and then boom, I see Courts have motorcycles outside. I'm excited. I get up one day, I go down, I spoke to this guy. I think his name was Sheena, this short, chubby little guy, I purchased two bikes so far. It was the 150 SL and the 250 Dragon. This blue, beautiful AKT TT Dragon. This is my baby. I call her Becky. She gives me the best ride ever. My name is Storyboy Nick, and I live to ride my AKT.
Welcome back to WEFM's Midday News, brought to you with the kind compliment of Courts St. Vincent Limited. I am your presenter, Rajiv Providence. First, on the local scene, Minister of Health, Wellness and the Environment, Sinclair Prince, says the Vincentians are not taking the threat of non-communicable diseases, NCDs, seriously enough. The health minister was at the time speaking on WEFM's Issue at Hand program on Sunday, where he said that his ministry will be putting more emphasis on that area going forward. We hear more from Minister Prince.
The NCDs of cardiovascular diseases, cancers, and diabetes have been wreaking havoc on St. Vincent and the Grenadines as far as we're concerned. And we will, in 2023, be putting, and the years beyond that, putting a lot of emphasis on that in that area. We will be having an increased presence of education personnel, promotional personnel in the villages, in the locales, to make people health literate, to talk about these conditions, because they are really killing people to an alarming extent. And I don't think that we've been taking it as seriously as we should.
That was the Minister of Health, Wellness and the Environment, Sinclair Prince. Minister Prince said that the clinic located in Enhams will be retrofitted to operate as a health and wellness center with a particular focus on diabetes. The National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, conducted a National Disaster Preparedness Baseline Assessment, NDPBA, workshop on Monday, November 14th, 2022, at NEMO's conference room. This workshop was held in collaboration with the Pacific Disaster Center, PDC, through funding from the United Nations Military Liaison Office, Barbados, and the Eastern Caribbean. NEMO says the main objective of this workshop is to introduce participants to the NDPBA, which is based on the Pacific Disaster Center model, which uses a collaborative stakeholder-driven approach that integrates national priorities and stakeholder feedback. The National Disaster Preparedness Baseline Assessment incorporates a risk and vulnerability assessment to examine several components of risk, including exposure to hazards, vulnerability, coping capacity, and existing disaster management capabilities. The findings from this assessment are then contextualized through the lens of the Pacific Disaster Center's unique disaster management analysis to identify disaster management capacity gaps and opportunities within the context of the risks identified. The end result will be to provide disaster management recommendations designed to increase resilience and reduce disaster risk. The findings of this analysis will be compiled into a 5-year disaster risk reduction DRR plan for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, offering practical actions to be taken in alignment with the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Country Work Program. Still on the local scene, there are currently approximately 2,500 students at the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Community College. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, who holds ministerial responsibility for post-secondary and tertiary education, says the government is looking at having that number ramped up. We hear more from the Prime Minister.
At the moment, we have about 2,500 students at the community college. In 2001, though there was an integrated community college, the 4 divisions of the community college, you had about 600 students in all. 500 and something, 600. So you're talking, we have over 4 times the number of students at the community college now than we had in 2001 when we came to office. And bear in mind that the population as a whole between 2001 and now has gone up maximum by 2,000 persons. So you can see that the rate of increase of these persons going to the community college has increased geometrically as while the population has increased arithmetically. And we are aiming to ramp up those numbers.
And that was the Prime Minister, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, speaking on WEFM's Issue at Hand program. Prime Minister Gonsalves took up ministerial responsibility for post-secondary education earlier this year. On to news in the region. St. Lucia's Agriculture Minister Alfred Prosper on Monday said the country is now exporting bananas to Trinidad and Tobago after trade with the United Kingdom was suspended earlier this month. Prosper, speaking to reporters ahead of the weekly cabinet meeting, dismissed suggestions that the Philip Pear administration had been responsible for the killing of the industry. Prosper, announcing the UK banana trade suspension, said that when the Pear administration came to office in July last year, it found the banana industry that had collapsed. St. Lucia's Agriculture Minister said the government, in recognition of the socio-economic consequences and the critical role of the banana trade in rural communities, found it necessary to intervene for the sake of maintaining social peace and economic mobility in rural communities. Barbados has temporarily suspended the importation of live birds, poultry, and poultry products from the United Kingdom due to the confirmed outbreaks of the highly pathogenic avian influenza virus, commonly referred to as bird flu. Although there have been no human cases of the outbreak, this virus has the potential to infect humans. As with most diseases that are not present in this area, the best protection is strengthening quarantine measures, said Barbados' Chief Veterinary Officer, Dr. Mark Trotman, in announcing the measure. He said with immediate effect, the ban will include passenger imports of all fresh or cooked poultry products, with the exception of fully cooked products in hermetically sealed packages. The authorities said only fully cooked poultry products in hermetically sealed packages or cans will be permitted. Trotman said that these restrictions do not apply to commercial imports of processed poultry products accompanied by an official veterinary export health certificate, attesting that the products have been processed to ensure the destruction of the avian influenza virus. And finally, on the international scene, Russia has launched an attack on the Ukrainian capital of Kiev, with explosions heard and smoke seen rising. 2 residential buildings in the central Perchesk district were among those hit, according to the city's mayor Vitaly Klitschko. World leaders are currently at a meeting of the G20 in Indonesia, where they have condemned the war on Ukraine. Several Russian missiles have been successfully shot down and rescue teams are in place, Mr. Klitschko said. An air raid alert has also been declared in Kiev. Yesterday, the UN General Assembly passed a resolution saying Russia should face the consequences of its actions in Ukraine, including paying reparations. And finally, in sports, 2 games were played on Monday in the inter-primary schools football tournament and 1 game in the inter-secondary schools competition. At the Richmond Hill playing field, the Kanawan Government School and the Lodge Village Government played to a 3-all draw. Emerald Snag, Jelani Samuel, and Tyler Potter scored for Kanawan, while Khalid Rage scored 1 and Rashad Morgan netted twice for Lodge Village. Following that game, the Lomans in Leeward Anglican School beat the Stephanie Brown Primary School 3-0. Courtesy goals from Justin Pierre with 2 and Jamari Gibson with 1. In a junior division matchup of the inter-secondary school edition, the Beckwith Seventh-day Adventist Academy beat the Sinclair Dakin Secondary School 4-1. 2 goals came by way of Bradley Farrell and 1 each from Javier Friday and Dennis Sutherland. This has been WEFM's Midday News. I have been your presenter, Rajiv Providence. Join us again at 3 p.m. for WEFM's 3 p.m. News. WEFM's Midday News is brought to you with the kind compliments of Court St. Vincent Limited.
Always wanted a motorcycle. motorcycle, but they've been too expensive. I pass in on my way to work, and then boom, I see courts have motorcycles outside. I'm excited. I get up one day, I go down, I spoke to this guy. I think his name was Sheena, this short, chubby little guy, you know. I purchased 2 bikes so far. It was the 150 SL and the 250 Dragon. This blue, beautiful AKT TT Dragon. This is my baby. I call her Becky. She gives me the best ride ever. My name is Storyboy Nick, and I live to ride my AKT.